Corporal Daejung stood at the back of the council chamber and watched Ambassador Hyejin make her final plea. His uniform felt too tight, or maybe it was just his patience that had run out of room. The chamber was massive, built to hold representatives from 47 different species. The Quillians sat highest, their feathered crests gleaming under the artificial lights. Below them, the insectoid Kresh clicked their mandibles in what passed for laughter. The Velkath delegation lounged in their seats like bored children. Hyejin stood alone at the speaker's podium. She had prepared for 3 weeks. Daejung had watched her rehearse the speech 50 times. She knew every word, every pause, every inflection that might sway a hostile audience. None of it mattered. The human colonies on Epsilon Ridge have existed for 60 years, Hyejin said. Her voice was steady, professional. 3 generations of families have built lives there. They farm, they raise children, they contribute to galactic trade. The recent attacks by Velkath raiders have killed 200 civilians. We ask only that the Council enforce its own laws, protect peaceful settlements, hold raiders accountable. Council Chair Velmoth yawned. Actually yawned. His long neck stretched as he showed rows of crystalline teeth. Ambassador Park, we have reviewed your complaint. The Velkath Empire has explained that these were not raids. They were reclamation actions. Your people settled on contested territory. The territory hasn't been contested for 2 centuries, Hyejin replied. The Velkath themselves signed the recognition accords and things change. Velmoth waved one of his 4 hands dismissively. The Empire now claims that region. Under Council law, established species have priority over newcomer races. Humanity has only been part of this council for 83 years. The Velkath have been members for 12,000. Your colony must relocate. Daejung felt his jaw tighten. Behind him, Captain Junwoo shifted his weight. The captain commanded the EDF destroyer Indomitable, currently docked at the station. His presence was supposed to be ceremonial, a show of Earth's military capability. In reality, the Council treated human warships like toys. Hyejin took a breath. Chair Velmoth, we are willing to negotiate compensation for relocation, but we need time. 2 years minimum to safely transport. You have 30 days. Velmoth's voice was flat. And there will be no compensation. Consider it payment for the inconvenience your species has caused the Empire. The chamber erupted in sounds that Daejung had learned to recognize as alien laughter. The Quillians trilled. The Kresh clicked faster. Even the normally neutral Borvians made their huffing noise. Hyejin's hands gripped the podium. What inconvenience? We have followed every council regulation, paid every tax. We have been model citizens of this community. Exactly. Velmoth leaned forward. You follow rules like trained animals. You smile and nod and pretend you belong here. But everyone knows the truth. Humans are barely evolved primitives. Your planet is a death world. Your species spent 10,000 years killing each other over rocks and rivers. You reached space through violence and desperation, not wisdom. The Council granted you membership as an act of charity. We thought you could learn civilization from your betters. He stood now, his 3-meter frame towering over the chamber. But you cannot. You are predators wearing clothes, savages holding knives behind your backs. This Council grows tired of pretending otherwise. So here is our ruling. Epsilon Ridge belongs to the Velkath. Your other outer colonies will be reviewed. If we find any additional territorial conflicts, you will surrender those as well. This is the price of peace. Silence filled the chamber. Daejung had served in the Earth Defense Force for 12 years. He had trained for war, studied tactics, prepared for combat. But for 12 years, Earth's politicians had kept the military on a leash. Peace at any cost, they said. Diplomacy first, they insisted. Show the galaxy we're civilized. He looked at Hyejin. She stood frozen at the podium. Her shoulders slumped forward. In that moment, Daejung saw something break inside the ambassador. Not her spirit. Something else. Something that had been holding her back. She raised her head. Her eyes found Daejung across the chamber. For 3 years, he had served as her military attaché. He knew her well enough to read her expression. She was asking a question. The same question humanity had been asking itself for 8 decades. How much longer do we play this game? Daejung smiled. Not the polite diplomatic smile he had learned to wear. The other kind. The kind his drill instructor used to wear right before a training exercise turned into hell. He gave Hyejin the smallest nod. Her posture changed. She stood straighter. When she spoke again, her voice was different, colder, clearer. "Ambassador Park," Velmoth said with irritation, "you are dismissed. The ruling is no." The word cut through the chamber like a blade. Velmoth's crest flattened in surprise. Around the room, representatives leaned forward. Humans didn't say no. Not to the council, not in 83 years. "Excuse me?" Velmoth's voice dropped an octave. Yijin reached up and unpinned the diplomatic insignia from her collar. The small gold emblem caught the light as she held it up. Then she dropped it. It hit the podium with a clear metallic ping that echoed in the silent chamber. "I said no." She looked directly at Velmoth. "Chair council members, for 83 years Earth has followed your rules. We accepted unfair trade agreements. We paid excessive taxes. We watched our people die while you debated whether their lives mattered. We swallowed insults and smiled. We played civilized because we thought that's what membership in this community required." She turned slowly, addressing the entire chamber. "But today we learned the truth. This isn't a community. It's a hierarchy, and humans will always be at the bottom, no matter how civilized we act. You don't want us to be civilized. You want us to be submissive. There's a difference." Captain Junwoo stepped forward to stand beside Daejung. His hand moved to the communicator at his belt. Yijin continued. "You called us barely evolved. You called our planet a death world. You said we reached space through violence. You're right. On all counts, Earth was harder than any paradise world that spawned your species. We clawed our way up from predators to spacefaring civilization through 10,000 years of war. We split atoms. We conquered diseases that killed millions. We survived ice ages and asteroid impacts and our own worst instincts." Her voice grew stronger. "And yes, we came to space ready for violence. Our first ships were weapons. Our first colonies were fortresses. But when we met you, we chose differently. We chose peace, diplomacy, civilization, not because we were weak, because we thought you were worth the effort." Velmoth's crest flushed a deep purple. "You dare, I dare." Hyejin smiled and Daejung recognized that expression. It was the same one he'd seen in the mirror. "Corporal Kim, please transmit code Midnight to Earth Command." Daejung pulled out his communicator. His fingers were steady as he entered the authorization code he'd memorized years ago, but never expected to use. The code that meant one simple thing: diplomatic solutions have failed. "Transmitted, Ambassador," he said, then caught himself. "Former Ambassador." "Captain Junwoo," Hyejin said, "please inform your crew to prepare for immediate departure. All human diplomatic personnel and civilians will be evacuating this station within 6 hours." Junwoo grinned. "Gladly, ma'am." Velmoth rose to his full height. "You cannot leave. The council is not dismissed." "The council," Hyejin interrupted, "can go to hell. Earth is withdrawing from this body, effective immediately. You wanted to see primitives, savages, the predators behind the smile?" She walked toward the exit, and Daejung and Junwoo fell in beside her. "You're about to get your wish." As they left, Daejung heard the chamber erupt into chaos. Velmoth was shouting. Other delegates were demanding order. But none of it mattered anymore. In the corridor, Hyejin stopped. She leaned against the wall and took a long breath. "That felt good," she said quietly. "Terrifying, but good. What happens now?" Daejung asked, though he already knew the answer. Hyejin looked at him. "Now we remind them why Earth survived when softer worlds would have died. We stop pretending to be something we're not. We stop holding back." She pushed off the wall and started walking again. "Now we show them what humans are really like when you take away our civilization." Junwoo was already on his communicator, speaking rapidly to his ship. Daejung heard fragments. "Battle stations, shields up, weapons hot. They had 6 hours to evacuate. 6 hours before the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't reaching the stars. It was choosing to be peaceful once they got there. And that choice, like anything humans chose, could be unmade." Behind them, the council chamber continued to descend into chaos. Ahead of them, human ships were preparing for war. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. The first change happened in the shipping lanes near Proxima Station. The freighter Midnight Runner had been flying the same route for 15 years. Every ship in the sector knew it. A civilian cargo hauler, carrying manufactured goods from Earth's industrial colonies to the inner systems. The Kresh patrol ship Vengeful Talon pulled alongside, as it had done dozens of times before. Commander Skix transmitted the standard inspection demand. Usually the human captain complied immediately. Humans always complied. It was their defining characteristic. This time the runner's response was different. Inspection denied. This vessel is now operating under Earth Defense Force military authority. Any hostile approach will be met with defensive measures. Skix's mandibles clicked in amusement. He ordered his weapons officer to target the runner's engines. A warning shot. Nothing serious, just a reminder of who held power in this sector. The shot never fired. The Midnight Runner's cargo pod split open. Hidden weapon batteries deployed in 3 seconds. The first volley tore through the vengeful Talon's shields like they were paper. The second volley destroyed its engines. The third targeted the weapons array. Skix barely managed to transmit a distress call before his ship went dark. When rescue crews found the Talon 6 hours later, they discovered something interesting. The human weapons had been precise, surgical. Every shot had disabled systems without killing the crew. On the Talon's main view screen, someone had left a message in perfect Kresh script. New rules. Stay clear of human vessels, similar. Incidents occurred across 15 sectors within 12 hours. Commander Min Seo crouched in the maintenance shaft and listened to the Quillian security patrol walk past below. They were joking about humans, about how the Council was going to put Earth in its place, about how amusing it would be to watch primitive apes beg for forgiveness. They would never get the chance. Min Seo had officially retired from Earth Special Forces 8 years ago, officially. In reality, she had been embedded on this Council station running intelligence operations. The Council thought she was a civilian translator. They never wondered why a translator needed level 5 security clearance to access technical documentation. Now her orders had changed. Extract all human civilians from Council-controlled stations. Use any necessary force. Leave no traces. She had a team of 40 scattered throughout the station, all retired, all officially civilian, all very, very good at their jobs. Min Seo dropped from the shaft behind the last Quillian guard. Her blade found the nerve cluster at the base of his crest. He collapsed silently. She caught him before he hit the floor and dragged him into a storage room. Restrained, gagged, alive. The same as the previous 6 guards. Her communicator buzzed twice. Team 2 had secured the civilian quarters. Team 3 controlled the docking bay. Team 4 had disabled station security without triggering any alarms. 347 human civilians. 2 transport ships. 15 minutes to load and launch. She made her way to the command center. 2 Quillian officers sat at their stations, monitoring screens. They didn't notice her enter. They certainly didn't notice when she placed small devices on the backs of their chairs. When she triggered the devices, electromagnetic pulses fried every console in the room. The officers spun around, reaching for their weapons. Don't. Min Seo's voice was calm. Her weapon wasn't pointed at them. It was already holstered. She didn't need it. You're going to sit there quietly for the next 20 minutes. Then you're going to tell your superiors that the humans left peacefully. Because if you raise any alarm, if you make any trouble, my team will come back. And next time we won't be extracting civilians. We'll be extracting information from you. Do you understand? The senior officer's crest flattened in fear. He nodded slowly. Good. Min Seo smiled pleasantly. Have a nice day. 18 minutes later, 2 human transport ships undocked and vanished into faster-than-light travel. Station security found the command center offline and their guards unconscious. By the time they figured out what happened, the humans were already gone. Dr. Sung Ho stood in front of the assembled Earth Defense Council and tried not to smile too widely. After 30 years of weapons research under Council restrictions, he finally got to present his real work. Gentlemen, ladies, he began. For 3 decades, the Galactic Council has limited our weapons development. We were only allowed to research defensive technologies. No offensive capabilities beyond what we possessed at first contact. No planet-killer weapons. No biological warfare. No AI-controlled combat systems. He triggered the presentation behind him. A sleek ship appeared on the screen. It didn't look like much. That was the point. We followed those rules. Technically, this is the Phantom-class destroyer. Defensive systems only, as per Council regulations. It has the most advanced shield array in known space. It can withstand direct hits from anything in the Council fleet. It also has the most sophisticated sensor package ever built. It can detect ships in faster-than-light travel. Track them. Follow them. He clicked to the next image. These are our defensive kinetic barriers. They can project force fields to intercept incoming projectiles. They can also reverse polarity and project those force fields outward at very high velocity. Technically still a defensive system. Practically speaking, it can punch holes through battle cruisers. Admiral Young-Soo leaned forward in his seat. How many can we field? We've been building them for 12 years. 247 Phantom-class ships, all in reserve locations the Council doesn't know about, plus modifications to our existing fleet. Every freighter has hidden weapons. Every colony has concealed defense platforms. Every mining station is actually a military outpost. The room was silent. Then someone started clapping. Others joined in. Sung-ho held up his hand. That's just the approved projects. You want to see what we made in our spare time? He clicked through to the next section. The images that appeared made several council members gasp. This is the Aurora system. Remember how the council banned weapons that target biological systems? Aurora targets technology. It's a virus that infects any ship's computer system. Once infected, we control that ship. Weapons, engines, life support, everything. We've already deployed Aurora through our trade networks. It's in 80% of council military vessels. Dormant, waiting for activation. He continued clicking. This is the Whisper network. Quantum communication devices we've been installing on stations for a decade. The council thinks they're entertainment systems. They're actually intelligence-gathering tools. We've been recording everything. Every meeting. Every transmission. Every secret. And this, he said, reaching the final slide, is my personal favorite. Project Hellfire. The council banned plasma weapons above a certain temperature threshold. They never said anything about focused electromagnetic pulse beams that heat targets from the inside. Hellfire can turn a ship's hull into molten metal in 4 seconds. From 10,000 kilometers away. Admiral Young-Soo stood. Dr. Kang, how long until all systems are operational? They already are, sir. We've been ready for war since the day we joined the council. We were just waiting for permission to stop pretending. Captain Junwoo sat in his command chair and watched the Velkath fleet approach. 15 warships, heavy cruisers mostly. They had launched from Velkath Prime 6 hours after Earth's withdrawal from the council. Their mission was clear. Intimidate the human colonies and force the council's ruling, show these primitives their place. The fleet commander, Admiral Keshava, transmitted on open channels. Human vessels in the Epsilon Ridge system. You are ordered to stand down. Surrender control of this system to the Velkath Empire. Any resistance will be met with overwhelming force. Junwoo looked at his tactical officer. How many ships do they have? 15 confirmed, sir. No additional vessels detected. And how many do we have in this system? Just us, sir. The Indomitable. Junwoo nodded. Good, I'd hate to share. He opened a channel. Admiral Keshava, this is Captain Junwoo of the Earth Defense Force destroyer Indomitable. We do not recognize Velkath authority in this system. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. The response was immediate laughter. 1 ship? You face 15 with 1 ship? Human arrogance knows no bounds. Last chance, surrender. No. Junwoo cut the channel. Weapons free. Target their command ship first. Then work your way down, fast and clean. The Indomitable had been designed to look like a standard destroyer. Medium size. Average weapons. Nothing threatening. The Velkath fleet probably outweighed it 15-1 in total firepower. Probably. The first shot from the Indomitable crossed 10,000 kilometers in 2 seconds. It hit Keshava's flagship directly in its main reactor. The ship's shields held for almost a full second before collapsing. The reactor went critical. The flagship vaporized. The Velkath fleet scattered, scrambling to return fire. But the Indomitable was already moving. Its engines were 3 generations ahead of Council technology. Its targeting systems tracked all 14 remaining ships simultaneously. The second volley destroyed 3 cruisers. The third took out 4 more. The Velkath finally managed to coordinate a response. 73 missiles launched simultaneously at the human ship. The Indomitable's defensive systems activated. Point defense lasers eliminated 60 missiles. Senator Jiwoo stood before the Earth Assembly and took a moment to look at the faces watching her. 3 months ago, she had been the loudest voice for peace, for compromise, for proving to the galaxy that humans could be civilized. Today, she was here to declare war. Members of the Assembly, citizens of Earth, she began. I have spent my entire career arguing for diplomacy, for restraint, for proving ourselves worthy of galactic respect. I believed if we followed their rules, accepted their terms, and demonstrated our peaceful intentions, they would eventually treat us as equals. She paused, letting the weight of her next words settle. I was wrong. The assembly hall was silent. Billions watched across Earth and its colonies. The Galactic Council didn't want us to be civilized. They wanted us to be submissive. There is a profound difference. Our mistake was not understanding that difference. We thought civilization meant peace at any cost. We forgot what our ancestors knew. Civilization is not the absence of violence. It is the control of violence. The ability to be dangerous but choosing not to be. Jiwoo pulled up images behind her. Human colonies. Peaceful settlements. Then images of the attacks, the raids, the families killed while Earth played nice. For 83 years we have been dangerous. We reached space with weapons built to destroy worlds. We carried with us 10,000 years of warfare. We knew 100 ways to kill our enemies. And we chose not to use them. We chose peace. That choice was our civilization. Our gift to the galaxy. Her voice hardened. They rejected that gift. They called it weakness. They exploited our restraint. They killed our people while we debated proper responses. So today I stand before you with a different message. The experiment is over. We tried their way. Now we return to what works. She gestured to the images changing behind her. Historical footage. Ancient battles. Medieval sieges. World wars. Our ancestors did not conquer Earth by being nice. They survived ice ages. They crossed oceans in wooden ships. They faced predators with nothing but sharpened stones. They built civilizations on a planet that tried to kill them every single day. Every other species in the Council came from paradise worlds. Gentle gravity, stable climates, no natural predators. They evolved cooperation because survival was easy. We evolved cooperation despite survival being hard. That made us different, stronger, more adaptable. Jiwoo's tone shifted. The Council thinks we reached space through desperation. They're right. Every technological breakthrough we made came from necessity. We split the atom because we needed energy. We conquered disease because millions were dying. We built ships that could cross star systems because we couldn't stay in one place without destroying ourselves. They reached space when they were ready. We reached space because we had no choice. And that made all the difference. She let that sink in before continuing. The vote before you is simple. Do we return to diplomacy hoping the Council will change? Or do we show them who we really are? The vote was unanimous. Lieutenant Bora floated in zero gravity outside the Quillian supply ship and checked her equipment one final time. Her team of 12 Marines hung in space around her, invisible against the black void. Their suits absorbed all light. Their movements made no sound. They had been here for 3 hours waiting. The supply ship carried weapons and provisions for Quillian forces occupying a contested system. It had state-of-the-art sensors, military-grade shields, armed escort. The Quillians believed it was untouchable. They were about to learn otherwise. Team 2 in position, whispered a voice in Bora's helmet. Team 3 ready. Waiting on your signal. Bora pulled herself along the ship's hull using magnetic grips. The metal was cold even through her gloves. She reached the primary airlock and attached a small device. The device transmitted a code, not a hack, something better. A backdoor that human technicians had installed during the ship's construction at a Council shipyard. Humans built 30% of Council military vessels. The Council never wondered if those humans might leave gifts behind. The airlock opened silently. Bora and her team slipped inside. They moved through the corridors like ghosts. Every step was calculated. Every movement precise. They had trained for this scenario 100 times, not against targets, against this specific ship. They had studied the layout for months, knew every corridor, every system, every hiding spot. The Quillian crew never knew they were there until it was too late. Bora's team hit the bridge first. 4 guards. They went down without firing a shot. Neural disruptors that left them unconscious but alive. The captain reached for the alarm. Bora's hand caught his wrist. Don't, she said quietly. Look around. Your ship is already ours. Through the bridge windows, the captain saw teams 2 and 3 moving through his ship. His weapons were being disabled. His engines were being locked down. His crew was being systematically neutralized. All in complete silence. Who are you? The captain whispered. We're the humans you thought you understood. Bora pulled him from his chair and sat him on the floor. The peaceful ones. The civilized ones. The ones who followed rules. She smiled behind her helmet. Turns out we're very good at breaking rules too. Within 15 minutes, the entire crew was secured in the cargo bay. Not a single casualty, not a single shot fired. Bora left them with supplies and a working communicator. She also left them a message written in perfect Quillian script on the bridge view screen. Your species talks about honor, about civilization, about knowing your place. We remember what those words actually mean. Honor is keeping your word. Civilization is protecting the weak. Knowing your place is understanding when you've made a mistake. You made a mistake. Don't make another. The Marines took control of the ship and flew it to the nearest human colony. The cargo held enough weapons to supply 3 battalions. Those weapons would be very useful in human hands. The Quillian crew was found 2 days later, unharmed and deeply shaken. They spread the story. Human Marines who moved like shadows, who struck without warning, who could have killed everyone but chose not to. The stories grew with each telling. Soon, Quillian soldiers were surrendering at the sight of human ships. Better to be captured than face the ghost Marines. Warrant Officer Chang Min sat in his small office and drank terrible coffee while he destroyed an entire planetary economy. It was almost too easy. The Kresh Confederation controlled banking for 17 systems. Their financial network was sophisticated, encrypted, protected by the best cybersecurity the Council could buy. It had taken human experts 3 years to find a way inside. Chang Min had been inside for 2 years. The Kresh never knew. Now he gave a simple command. The virus he had planted activated. Within seconds, it spread through every node in the Kresh financial network. Bank accounts froze. Trade systems crashed. Currency values became meaningless. The entire Confederation's economy simply stopped working. His terminal pinged. Similar operations were succeeding across Council space. Human hackers embedded in systems for years, all activating simultaneously. They called themselves the Ghost of Sol. Not because they were from Sol, because Sol had once been divided by war, then reunited through strength. They were doing the same for humanity. Chang Min sent a message to the Kresh Banking Authority. It appeared on every screen in their headquarters simultaneously. Your economy is ours. We can restore it, or we can delete it. Your choice depends on what happens next. Do you want to keep fighting humanity, or do you want your money back? The response came in 6 hours. The Kresh Confederation was withdrawing from the conflict. They would remain neutral. They wanted their economy restored. Chang Min finished his terrible coffee and pressed a button. The Kresh systems came back online. Everything returned to normal. Well, almost normal. He kept the back doors in place. Just in case. Across the galaxy, similar operations were succeeding. Human traders turned into privateers. Human technicians revealed themselves as saboteurs. Human civilians became intelligence assets. The Council had spent decades integrating humans into their society. They never realized they were letting a weapon inside their defenses. Admiral Youngsu watched the battle displays and felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Pride. Not in victory. In his people. His fleet had just liberated the 3rd human colony in 2 weeks. The Council garrison had fought hard. They lost anyway. Not because human weapons were better. Because human tactics were smarter. The Council fought the way species from Paradise worlds fought. With overwhelming force. Direct assaults. Clear battle lines. It was civilized warfare. Honorable warfare. Predictable warfare. Humans fought dirty. They used asteroids as cover. They hid ships in debris fields. They jammed sensors and fed false data. They struck from unexpected angles. They didn't form neat battle lines. They swarmed. They ambushed. They made every engagement unpredictable. The Council called it dishonorable. Youngsu called it winning. Admiral, incoming transmission from Council Command, his communications officer reported. They're demanding we cease military operations and return to negotiations. Youngsu almost laughed. Tell them we'll negotiate when they meet our terms. Complete sovereignty for human space, recognition of our territorial claims, reparations for attacked colonies, and a formal apology. Sir, they'll never agree to those terms. I know. Youngsu smiled. That's the point. Colonel Insu sat in a small room and recorded his 100th propaganda message. Not propaganda, really. Truth, but delivered in a way that would break enemy morale. Soldiers of the Quillian Defense Force, he said into the camera. Your commanders tell you that humans are weak, Disorganized, easy to defeat. They tell you this war will be over quickly. They're lying. He pulled up footage from recent battles. Quillian ships exploding. Quillian positions overrun. Quillian soldiers surrendering by the thousands. This is the reality. You're not fighting barbarians. You're fighting survivors. Every human you face comes from a planet that tried to kill them. Our gravity is twice what you're used to. Our diseases would destroy your immune system. Our weather would break your spirit. We evolved to survive all of it. Insu leaned forward. Your species evolved on a paradise world. Your greatest challenge was deciding what to eat for dinner. Our greatest challenge was staying alive until dinner. That made us different. We don't fight wars the way you do. We don't follow your rules. We fight to win. And we always win. He paused for effect. Your commanders are safe in bunkers while you die on the front lines. Your politicians are making deals while you bleed. Ask yourself, are you fighting for your people or for leaders who see you as expendable? The message ended with simple text: surrender to human forces. You will be treated fairly. You will survive. Keep fighting and you won't. Insu sent the message to his distribution network. Within hours, it would be broadcast across Quillian military channels, not as an official transmission, as a pirate signal that appeared on every screen. Unstoppable. Unavoidable. His assistant entered the room. Colonel, we're getting reports from the front. Quillian desertions are up 40% this week. Several units surrendered without fighting. Good. Insu pulled up the next target. The Velkath military this time. They were tougher. More militant. They would need a different approach. Prepare the next operation. I want to show the Velkath what happens when you attack human civilians. They seem to think there are no consequences. Major Sujin studied the battlefield display and shook her head. They're doing it again. Same formation, same tactics, same predictable response. Her tactical staff watched the enemy fleet approach. It was the fourth Council offensive this month. They had learned nothing from the previous 3 defeats. They really don't understand, do they? Her second-in-command asked. No. Sujin pulled up historical files. Ancient battles from Earth, medieval sieges, naval warfare, tank battles. She had studied them all. They study war like it's a science. Fixed rules. Established doctrine. They think if they follow the correct procedures, they'll win. She zoomed in on the enemy formation. They don't understand that war is chaos. It's adaptation. It's doing whatever works, not what's supposed to work. We studied their wars not to learn from them. We studied them to know how they'd fall apart. The Council fleet entered weapon range. Sujin gave her orders. Execute pattern mongoose, her fleet scattered. No formation. No neat lines. Each ship moved independently following their training. The Council fleet tried to maintain cohesion. Big mistake. Human ships hit them from 6 different angles simultaneously. Targeted their command ships first. Eliminated coordination. Turned an organized fleet into panicked individuals. The battle lasted 40 minutes. Not a single human ship was seriously damaged. 12 Council vessels were destroyed. 23 surrendered. Sujin recorded the battle data and sent it to Earth Command with a note. Traditional military doctrine continues to fail against human tactics. Recommend we begin training programs for other resistance groups. Several species are requesting our assistance against Council oppression. She thought about that. Humans helping other species fight. Teaching them Earth's way of war. It could change everything. Hyojin sat across from the Quillian peace delegation and felt almost sorry for them. Almost. They looked desperate. Their leader, Ambassador Kelvan, kept his crest flat in a gesture of submission. 2 months ago, he had been one of the voices laughing at her speech. Now he was begging. Ambassador Park, please. You must understand our position. The Council chair forced us to support the ruling against Earth. We had no choice. Hyojin sipped her tea. Real Earth tea. She had brought it specifically to make them uncomfortable. The Quillians found the smell unpleasant. You had a choice. You chose wrong. Now you want us to forget that because it's convenient for you. We can offer trade concessions, technology sharing. We can support Earth's territorial claims in the Council. The Council? Hyojin set down her tea. Ambassador, we don't care about the Council anymore. We're not coming back. We're not negotiating. You had 83 years to treat us fairly. You chose to treat us as inferiors. There are consequences for that. Kelvan's crest rose slightly in distress. What do you want? Name your terms. Terms? Hyojin leaned back. You think this is a negotiation? It's not. This is me explaining reality. Human space is sovereign. We control our territory. We defend our interests. We don't ask permission anymore. If you want peace with Earth, here's what that looks like. Stay out of our space. Don't threaten our colonies. Don't attack our ships. Do that and we'll leave you alone. And if we need to transit through human space, trade routes would apply for passage, pay reasonable fees, follow our laws while in our territory, the same things you demanded from us for decades. Heejin smiled coldly. Funny how different that feels when you're on the other side. Kelvan was silent for a long moment. The council chair will not accept these terms. Then the council chair can declare war. Formal war. Let's see how that goes. Heejin stood, indicating the meeting was over. You came here looking for compromise. For the old relationship. That relationship is dead. You killed it when you laughed at me in that chamber. When you called us primitives. When you thought our patience was weakness. She walked to the door, then turned back. Ambassador Kelvan, I'm going to tell you something important. Humans didn't change. We're exactly what we've always been. We're just not pretending anymore. The smile is gone. What you see now is what we were hiding, and you should be grateful we hid it for as long as we did. After the delegation left, Heejin's assistant entered. Ma'am, that was harsh. It was necessary. Heejin returned to her desk. They need to understand that the old rules don't apply. No more begging. No more explaining. We tell them how things are and they adjust. Some people are saying we've become what we fought against. Bullies. Oppressors. Heejin considered that. Maybe, but there's a difference. We're not oppressing anyone. We're just refusing to be oppressed. We're not attacking peaceful species. We're defending ourselves. If that makes us bullies, then the word has lost all meaning. She pulled up reports from the front lines. More victories. More liberated colonies. More council species backing down. For 3 months we've been at war. Not a single human colony lost. Not a single human world threatened. Our casualties are minimal. Theirs are mounting. And they still don't understand why they're losing. Why are they losing? Because they're fighting the war they know how to fight. We're fighting the war we need to win. They're playing chess. We're flipping the board. Heejin smiled. And it turns out we're very good at flipping boards. Captain Junwoo stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and watched Velkath Prime grow larger on the view screen. The Council homeworld. The seat of power for the species that had started this whole mess. He wasn't here to destroy it. That would be genocide. But he was here to send a message. Sir, we're being hailed by Planetary Defense, his communications officer reported. Multiple threats. They're demanding we leave immediately or face total destruction. How many defense platforms do they have? 43 confirmed. Plus orbital defense stations and at least 2 fleets in system. Junwoo nodded. More than enough to kill us. If they could hit us. His tactical officer grinned. She knew what was coming. Take us into high orbit. Maximum evasion. Don't fire unless fired upon. I want them to see us. To know we're here. To understand that if we wanted to, we could hurt them. The Indomitable dove into Velkath Prime's orbital space. Defense platforms lit up immediately. Thousands of missiles launched. Energy weapons fired. The planet's entire defensive grid activated. Not a single shot hit the Indomitable. The destroyer danced through the defensive fire like it was choreographed. Every movement was calculated. Every dodge was precise. The ship's computer was 3 generations ahead of Council technology. It could predict firing patterns before weapons charged. For 5 minutes. The Indomitable looped through Velkath, Prime's orbital space, untouched, untouchable. Then, Junwoo broadcast a message on every channel the planet could receive. People of Velkath Prime. I am Captain Junwoo of the Earth Defense. Force, your leaders started a war with humanity. They believed we were weak, easy targets, primitives who would beg for mercy. They were wrong. He let that hang for a moment. I'm here to show you something. Your planetary defense has just fired 10,000 weapons at my ship. Not one hit. I could destroy your orbital infrastructure. I could bombard your cities. I could turn this planet into a graveyard. But I won't. Do you know why? The message continued. Because we're not like your leaders. We don't wage war on civilians. We don't destroy planets. 18 months after the diplomatic withdrawal, President Taeyang stood before what remained of the Galactic Council and prepared to reshape the galaxy's political order. The council chamber looked different now. 47 species had once filled these seats. Today only 31 remained. 6 species had withdrawn from the council entirely. 4 had been removed for attacking human colonies. 3 had collapsed into civil war. 2 had asked to join Earth's protective sphere instead. 1 had simply disappeared, their entire government abandoning their posts. The remaining members watched, Tae-yang with expressions ranging from fear to respect to barely concealed hatred. Good. Fear and respect he could work. With members of the Galactic Council, he began. 18 months ago, my predecessor withdrew Earth from this body. Many of you believed it was a tantrum, a temporary protest. You thought we would come begging to return once we realized how much we needed you. He let that statement hang in the air. You were wrong. We didn't need you. You needed us. Your trade networks relied on human shipping. Your technology depended on human innovation. Your economy was built on human labor. And your security assumed human cooperation. Tae-yang pulled up a display showing the galaxy's current state. Look what happened when you lost all of that. Trade collapsed. Technology stagnated. Your economies shrunk. And your security evaporated. Not because we attacked you. Because we stopped helping you. Ambassador Yunji stood beside him. She had replaced Hye-jin as Earth's diplomatic representative. Where Hye-jin had been patient and understanding, Yunji was direct and unyielding. For 83 years, Yunji said, Earth asked for fairness. We asked to be treated as equals. We asked for basic respect. You denied every request. You exploited our patience. You mocked our attempts at civilization. So we stopped asking. She walked to the center of the chamber. Some of you are wondering if we're here to rejoin the council. We're not. We're here to explain the new reality. Earth is a sovereign power. We control our own space. We make our own rules. We defend our own interest. If you want to interact with us, you do so on our terms. Council Chair Velmoth was gone, arrested by his own people for corruption and warmongering. The new chair was a Borvian named Threll. He was smarter than Velmoth, which meant he was smart enough to be afraid. What terms do you propose? Threll asked carefully. President Tae-yang stepped forward. Simple ones. Human space is recognized as sovereign territory. No council species has authority there. We control immigration. We set tariffs. We make laws. Second, all previous claims against human colonies are void. Those territories are ours. Forever. Third, Yunji continued, Earth will maintain military bases in neutral zones. Not to threaten anyone. To ensure our security. Fourth, any species that attacks human interest will face immediate military response. Not sanctions. Not diplomatic protests. Military action. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a declaration. And finally, Tae-yang said, the council will formally apologize for its treatment of humanity. A public statement acknowledging that you were wrong, that you exploited us, that you mistook our restraint for weakness. The chamber erupted. Half the delegates were shouting, demanding, refusing. The other half sat quietly, already knowing how this would end. Threll raised his hands for silence. When the chamber finally quieted, he spoke carefully. These terms are harsh. They strip the council of authority over human affairs. They give Earth complete independence. They require us to admit fault. Many species will refuse. Then those species will find themselves isolated, Yunji replied. Earth controls 40% of galactic trade routes. We supply 30% of advanced technology. We provide 25% of council security. Species that refuse our terms lose access to all of that. She pulled up another display. These 17 species have already signed bilateral agreements with Earth. They recognize our sovereignty. They've apologized for past treatment. They trade with us on equal terms, and in return we provide them the same protection and cooperation we used to provide to everyone. The message was clear. Earth was dividing the galaxy. Those who cooperated prospered. Those who resisted suffered. You're forcing us to choose, Threll said quietly. No, President Tae-yang replied. You forced us to choose 18 months ago. Between civilized behavior and survival, we chose survival. Now you have the same choice. Accept the new order or be left behind. General Dae-jung watched the hollow screen in his office and felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. The war was over. Earth had won. Human colonies were safe. The galaxy had learned its lesson, but victory had come at a cost. He pulled up casualty reports. 3,000 military personnel killed, 8,000 wounded, 12 human ships destroyed. It was a low number compared to enemy casualties. The Council had lost hundreds of thousands. But each human death was a person who had signed up to defend Earth, who had trusted him to lead them well. "Sir, Admiral Youngsu is here," his aide announced. The Admiral entered, looking tired but satisfied. "General, I thought you'd want to see the final fleet numbers. We've pulled most ships back to defensive positions. Border patrol only. Offensive operations are suspended pending political negotiations. How's the fleet's morale?" "High, very high. They're proud of what we accomplished. But they're also ready for peace. Fighting is exhausting even when you're winning." Daijung nodded. "What about the enemy? How are their militaries handling defeat?" "Mixed. The Velkath are shamed but accepting it. They understand they picked a fight they couldn't win. The Quillians are bitter. They still don't understand what happened. The Kresh are pragmatic. They've already moved on and are negotiating trade deals." "And the Council military overall?" Youngsu sat down heavily. "Broken. They lost confidence in their leadership, in their tactics, in their equipment. We didn't just defeat them. We made them question everything they believed about warfare. That's harder to recover from than physical losses." Daejong understood. "We destroyed their sense of superiority, showed them they weren't the galaxy's protectors. They were just lucky no one had challenged them before." "Exactly." Youngsu pulled up a strategic map. "The question now is what we do with this victory. Do we press our advantage, demand more territory, build an empire? No." Daejong's answer was immediate. "That's not who we are. We fought for freedom, for respect, for the right to exist without being exploited. We got that. Anything more would make us what we fought against. Some politicians are arguing otherwise. I know, and they're wrong." Daejong stood and looked out at Earth below his orbital office. "We won because we remembered what we are, survivors, fighters, people who do what's necessary. But we also remembered what we chose to be, civilized, controlled, better than our worst instincts. We can't forget that now." Captain Junwoo decommissioned the Indomitable 5 months after the war ended. The ship had served well, fought brilliantly, survived countless battles, but the scars were adding up. It needed a full refit. As he walked through the empty corridors one last time, he thought about what this ship represented. Not just a weapon, a statement. That humans could be pushed too far. That patience had limits. That civilization was a choice, not a weakness. His crew had scattered to new assignments. Min-Seo was training the next generation of special forces. Changmin was heading Earth's new cybersecurity division. Bora was leading marine instructor programs. They had all gone from warriors to teachers. Junwoo would do the same. Earth Command had offered him a position training new captains, teaching them not just tactics but judgment, when to fight, when to show mercy, when to be civilized and when to be savage. He sealed the ship's log with his final entry. "We were given a mission to defend human interests without restrictions. We succeeded. Enemy casualties were high but not excessive. We targeted military assets, not civilians. We fought hard but honorably. This ship and its crew proved that humans can wage war effectively while maintaining our principles. We were warriors when needed. We'll be peacekeepers now." The mission continues. Heejin accepted the teaching position at the rebuilt Galactic Academy without hesitation. She had spent 40 years in diplomacy, fighting for peace, arguing for understanding. The war had broken something in her. Not her spirit, her illusions. Now she taught students from across the galaxy about real diplomacy, not the pretty fiction she had practiced. The hard truth. A young Quillian student approached her after class. His name was Pelson. He had been born during the war. His father had died fighting humans. He had every reason to hate her. "Professor Park," he said hesitantly, "I have a question. Do you regret the war? Regret what your species did?" Heejin considered the question carefully. She owed him honesty. "I regret it was necessary. I regret every death. Every ship destroyed. Every family torn apart. War is always regrettable. But do you think humanity was wrong to fight?" "No." Heejin met his eyes. "We were right to defend ourselves. Right to demand respect. Right to use force when all other options were exhausted. But I regret that the galaxy forced us to that point. I regret that your leaders chose pride over wisdom." Pelson's crest flattened. "My father believed humans were barbarians. He died still believing that. Was he wrong?